brand new season has arrived for the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship for 2023. And the traditional curtain raiser once again takes place here at Blyton Park in Lincolnshire on an overcast but dry early spring day. Sizable entry is present across the 7 different classes, ready to do battle once again. The Bleasdale family, dominant for the past 2 years, are absent, so a new overall champion could be in prospect. We could see some new winners for the 2023 season here today. It's a new circuit here at Blyton for the 2023 season. We will take a look at the new layout on board with Todd Crooks in his super modified BMW Mini down the tarmac pit straights into the first 2 left-handers. That's just as we saw over the last few years, a slightly tighter second left-hander. Now, instead of going up towards the right-handed hairpin this time over the loose infield section, drivers will now head through the cones and into a chicane, flicking first left and then right. The jump no longer used here at Blyton Park as we've seen in previous seasons. Then it's down this short sprint down the straights, back onto the tarmac and onto the brakes before another chicane, left and then right over the old runways here at this former airfield here in the flatlands of Lincolnshire. Then it's up towards a tight left-handed hairpin, back through onto the tarmac and up towards the end of the lap, bound towards the paddock area here at Blyton Park, long-established rallycross venue, through the right-hander and then the left past the paddock, and that's a lap of the new Blyton Park layout riding on board with Todd Crooks. Let's move into our A finals then. We start with the new MacG Racing modified 4x4 category. We'll see a couple of cars from the production 4x4 championship last season and the quartet of BMW All 4 Mini category cars. The heats won by Thomas Ramanauskas in the white Mitsubishi Lancer, Edward Stallard and Max Langmaid in their All 4 Minis. We're on board with young gun Max Langmaid making a move up from the juniors, and he's made a great start into the lead. Only a last-minute decision to compete in this car for this season. Thomas Ramanauskas in the Mitsubishi, missing its front bumper in second place, and it's Chris Baker in the Subaru Impreza in third. Familiar cars from last season, of course. Thomas Ramanauskas winning the production 4x4 championship. Fourth place is David Bell, the pioneer of the All 4 Minis in Rallycross. They ran in the Clubman 4x4 category last season, but the 4x4 cars all combined this year. Bit of a streamlining of the classes in the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship for 2023. There's Edward Stallard, had a heat win earlier on, but didn't get the best of starts there from the front row. The black car down into 5th place. Behind him is Andy Hawkes, the reigning BMW Mini category champion, making the move up this year. Raced that car at Pembrey last year, suffered a fire unfortunately. It is Max Langmaid who leads the way as they complete the opening A final lap of the season here at Blyton Park Driving Centre. There's Andy Hawkes at the back of the field, comes from an extensive rallycross family. Through towards turns 1 and 2, a slightly tighter turn through there this time. It would normally be up towards the hairpin on the old layout through this infield section. This is where it gets pretty rough and bumpy as the day goes on. Instead of turning right into the hairpin and then left into the jump here at Blyton, this is the new circuit layout. They go through the chicane and then onto the back section. There's the jump in the background where the marshals are positioned, no longer being used. Through the chicanes and then out through the back of the circuit up towards this new left-handed hairpin. This used to be the double left towards the end of the lap. Edward Stallard trying to move up on rallycross veteran David Bell, getting it a bit sideways through there. David, the son of Tony Bell, he used to compete in a Toyota Corolla WRC in British Rallycross. Into lap 3. Max Langmaid continues to lead. There's Chris Baker lifting a wheel in the Subaru Impreza, chasing Thomas Ramanauskas as he was for the whole of last season in the production 4x4 category. Well, Max Langmaid graduating from the junior class. He was due to compete in the BMW Mini Rallycross Championship that we'll see a little later on this year, but then the opportunity came up to buy this All 4 Mini from its owner Adrian Turner. And Max, straight out of the box, has been a winner in Heat 3 today. Each of the categories have 3 heats to qualify for their finals. And the best 2 scores for each driver are counted towards their final grid position. Max Langmaid had a heat win earlier. He had some problems though earlier on in the heats, which his team, headed by his father Chris, were able to rectify. Max Langmaid looking for a debut victory in senior Rallycross. Edward Stallard running wide there. Started well, he won Heat 2. Thomas Ramanauskas in the Mitsubishi won Heat 1, the Lithuanian-born driver. There's Chris Baker in 3rd place. We're on the last lap now of this MACG Racing Modified 4x4 A final. It's the GSF Car Parts BMW Mini All 4, based on the Mini Countryman. Look at that style there, almost like a rally driver. Young Max Langmaid, the ex-Mini Stocks racer from the short ovals, who has the lead. A flash of flame from the exhaust of Thomas Ramanauskas' Mitsubishi Lancer. Chris Baker in the wingless Subaru, missing its rear wing there. Thomas Ramanauskas missing his front bumper. Close for 2nd place here, ahead of the other BMW Mini All 4 cars. Last couple of corners then, it looks like Max Langmaid is going to hold on for a debut A final victory in the MACG Racing Modified 4x4s. Ramanauskas looks safe in 2nd. They're not going to catch the man from the southwest. Up towards the final corner comes Max Langmaid. There's the checkered flag. Langmaid wins it. Ramanauskas 2nd. Baker in 3rd. 4th place goes to David Bell. Edward Stallard has to settle for 5th. And 6th position will go to Andy Hawkes, a little further back, the reigning BMW Mini category champion. Hawkes across the line, tailed off a little bit at the back, but it's a win for Max Langmaid by just over a 2nd, ahead of the battling pairing of the Mitsubishi and the Subaru of Ramanauskas and Baker. David Bell a bit further back in 4th in his BMW Mini, then Edward Stallard and Andy Hawkes completing the 6 finishers in our MACG Racing Modified 4x4 category, first ever A final.
Max, we're more used to seeing you in junior rallycross. Your first race in grown-up 4x4 rallycross, and you've won. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, I'm feeling pretty amazing, to be honest with you. It's different to be in that machine. It's a bit faster than the Swift. Certainly feels awesome. Yeah, I'm over the moon. Absolutely over the moon.
I'm not surprised. It's delightful to see you racing out there, looking very, very fast all day. But what a difference between a 1300 Swift and this four-wheel drive beastie. What such a difference to drive.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. I mean, I thought I was going to have to spend loads of time in the car and get used to it, but I just got into it and it kind of felt a bit at home. Yeah, triple the horsepower, 4 wheels are driven. It's certainly amazing car, absolutely amazing. Yeah, I need to say thank you to all of my sponsors. This weekend wouldn't have been possible without them. Yeah, you guys are amazing, thank you.
We now move on to the AVO suspension and Rotec sponsored modified category. Just a couple of entries for this opening round. It was Chris Smith in the Honda Civic who scored a hat-trick in the heats, taking on Rob Tinto at the wheel of the Ford Puma. A match race between the two of them in the A final over 5 laps. Let's see if Chris Smith, the former circuit racer, can make it 4 out of 4. Well, he's made a good start. Leads Rob Tinto into the 1st and 2nd bend. Out onto the infield section here at the very well appointed Blyton Park. A lot of investment has been made at this venue by its owners, the Ginetta Sports Car Company, through towards what was the turning into the hairpin. Now it's the other way into the chicane through the tyre stacks and the cones, and it's Chris Smith who's competed in his Honda Civics on the circuits. There's the Honda Civic Cup, the Type R trophy as well, where we've seen Chris compete. He made his Rallycross debut at Pembrey in Wales last season, had a couple of A final wins in the modified category. He's clear of Rob Tinto already. Last year it was Alex Fletcher in another Honda Civic, the Loughborough College run car, that took the title ahead of James Avison in the Ford Focus. Hopefully we'll see those two back out a little later in the season. It's a new category over the last couple of years, the modified class, bridging the gap between the super modifieds and the production division. Chris Smith controlling the pace, just as he did in all 3 of the heats in the Honda Civic. Through the back of the circuit for the final time. He's well clear of Rob Tinto at the wheel of his Ford Puma, who had reliability problems with that car all the way through last season. The Apollo Autos Civic is heading for its 4th win of the day, and Chris Smith a busy day today because he's doubling up racing in the super modified division as well with that car. comes through the hairpin for the final time. Rob Tinto in the Puma, the transport company boss, up there in second place. It's going to be a quartet of second places because Chris Smith scores a maximum. 3 heat wins and the A final, with Rob Tinto further back in second place. A small entry for the Avio Suspension Rotec modified category. Hopefully grids will grow as the season goes on. But it was Chris Smith who took the victory, finishing some 7 seconds clear of Rob Tinto at the checkered flag in the Avio Suspension and Rotec Limited modified category A final.
Standing with me is Chris Smith, who just won his modified championship race. How are you feeling, Chris?
Yeah, no, good. It's just a shame we just need some more cars. It's pretty bad for 2 cars really, but just using this one really as a warm up because I'm racing my Super Modified as well. So I think we'll be going Super Modified full time from today. So just but no, the car's working all right. A few bits that still need to be done, but just first time here, which is nice. So learning something new.
Oh, that sounds very positive. Look forward to seeing what happens the rest of the season, Chris.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you at Pembrey.
Now time for some of the smallest cars here today, but some of the most spectacular. The FIA Cross Car category, sponsored by SGS Welding Gas and Rotec Limited. Down towards the first corner there go David Attiwell, who won one of the 3 heats, making a good start. Reigning champion Luke Holly up alongside him, and Will Butler tucks in behind. All of those 3 had a heat win each earlier on. Number 21, Paul Batson, completing the entry, but it's Luke Holly, the defending champion, who has the lead ahead of David Attiwell. Used to compete in the Classic division with a Vauxhall Nova. Paul Batson coming through into 3rd place. He and Luke Holly launched this category with the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship at Liddon Hill midway through last season. It's Luke Holly who leads around the opening lap ahead of Attiwell, Batson and Will Butler, the newcomer to BTRDA Rallycross, in 4th position. These cars built over in France, and the leader has spun. Luke Holly coming out of the hairpin there has spun around in the number 23. That's the SGS Welding Gas sponsored car. Tries to get it going again, so David Attiwell in the blue car, number 501, now has the lead, clear of Paul Batson. There's Will Butler in 3rd place. These 600cc engine buggies built in France, popular in Spain as well. A group of Spanish drivers came over to drive at the Autosport International Racing Car Show in Birmingham in January in the live action arena. Very spectacular they were there as well. These howling 600cc engine buggies. It's David Attiwell who leads the way, made his debut in these cars at Knock Hill at the end of last season, switching from a Vauxhall Nova. There's Will Butler chasing in 3rd place. A lot of understeer there as he goes into the chicane. Out onto the back of the circuit they go. And where's Paul Batson going? He's gone straight on at the hairpin into the cones. Now, he could be beached on those road cones there. We could have lost the 21 car. Luke Holly, recovering from his spin, goes through. So Paul Batson stuck there on the grass. That was coming through the 2nd chicane, not the hairpin. Apologies there. Getting used to this new layout here at Blyton. There goes David Attiwell, still in the lead by a clear margin ahead of Will Butler now. Butler was in last place around the first lap, so last season's 2 regulars. Paul Batson has got going again. Luke Holly also suffering problems with that spin out of the lead. It's David Attiwell who continues to set the pace. Had a win at Knock Hill at the end of last season. They howl their way onto the infield section. Over the bumps. See the suspension working on these little buggies. Still Attiwell from Butler, I would say victory between these 2 now. Bit of a lock-up there from David Attiwell into the 2nd, in fact through the 2nd chicane, the left then through into the less tight right-hander, then down to the hairpin. Butler's closing the gap here in the number 70, the debutant. It's the Rotec Limited sponsored car. Paul Batson still struggling in that 3rd place. Luke Holly closing back up on him. A race of attrition so far this one, and now Will Butler's right with David Attiwell as they go into lap 4. That's the paddock out of the left-hander, and Butler's up the inside. He's going through. David Attiwell's got a problem, I think. Well, Will Butler, one by one, has seen his opposition hit trouble ahead of him. He's gone from last to first. Runs wide there on turn 1 and 2. Attiwell still going, but there's something amiss with the 501 FIA cross car, I think. Cross car racing, very popular on dirt tracks and grass tracks in France. I would love to see these cars on something like a supercross course. Luke Holly's now caught David Attiwell, who's got going again. He's back up to speed. I don't know what the problem was there, whether he just lost drive momentarily. Seems to be locking up the brakes as well, so perhaps it's a braking issue with the 501 car. He's just losing control just a little. Staying ahead of Luke Holly, who will be ruining that spin on the opening lap. Dropped him out of the lead. It's Will Butler who leads now, coming around to start the final lap this time. Paul Batson a long way behind in the 21. Into the final lap they go. Will Butler's away and clear in the number 70 in this SGS Gases and Rotec Limited FIA Cross Car A final. There'll be a few cross drivers after this one as well, I think. Luke Holly will be annoyed with himself for that spin. Paul Batson for going off as well. And then whatever happened to David Attiwell, we don't know. He has been able to hold second place. Fear that Will Butler could have ended up last man standing in this race. And Luke Holly almost goes again. Sideways through the chicane there, nearly spud it. That's handed David Attiwell a clear second place. This is a real race of attrition for the FIA cross cars. Luke Holly all over the place. He's well clear of Paul Batson, though. Luke Holly, the defending champion. Does seem to be having some handling issues, but no issues for Will Butler. From fourth to first, and he takes the A final win on his debut. Great drive by Will Butler. David Attiwell comes over in second. I don't know what slowed him momentarily. Luke Holly sliding about all over the place on his way to third. And a long way back in fourth will be Paul Batson in the number 21. So a rather chaotic season opener for the FIA cross cars, sponsored by SGS Welding Gas and Rotec Limited. Paul Batson does come in a long way back to finish fourth. So it is a win for Will Butler by 4.5 seconds in the end ahead of David Attiwell. Luke Holly a couple of seconds further back in third place with some handling issues, and Paul Batson a long way down in fourth in a certainly eventful SGS Gases and Rotec Limited FIA Cross Car A final.
Here we are with the winner of the cross car final. Will, your first time racing in Rallycross, and you seem to have taken to it rather well.
Yeah, it's my first time in the BTRDA, so I've done quite a bit of racing and rallying in the past, but first time doing it all together on one circuit, so no, awesome, really good fun. Had a great day, and obviously to come home with a trophy is even better, so no, great day. So, and luckily the weather held out as well, so it was nice and dry all day. We weren't sure when we drove down, so it was peeing down with rain, so but no, really good, really happy. So,
and what were you racing before? Nothing like this, I suppose.
No, so I've never done anything single-seater, and before this I was in a TCR car, and then way before that I was in an R2 rally car. So yeah, just all different things over the years, but yeah. So I think doing it all in one track with dirt and tarmac, yeah, no, really good. I managed to sort of pull different things I've learned from different places and put it all together. So yeah, no, really good, really happy.
Well, that's really how Rallycross began, being a mixture of the surfaces.
Absolutely,
and you've adapted to it ever so well so far. Will we see you the rest of the season?
Yeah, so the plan is this chassis is being shared between me and my colleague Ethan, so he's doing the next race in this car, so I won't be doing that. But then we've got another car on the way, so hopefully by round 4 we should both have 2 cars, and yeah, so I'll be doing the rest of the season. So I will be doing the championship, but just one drop round. So yeah, and we'll be doing lots of other stuff as well. So yeah.
Well, welcome to Rallycross. It's good to have you with us.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Next up here at Blyton Park, it's the junior category, sponsored by AVM Mobile Mechanic. Corey Paget, number 326, scored 2 heat wins. Will Ovenden scored 1. They head the grid with Tyler McAlpin completing the front row. The 3 Suzuki Swifts lead them off. Look out also for the Nissan Micra of Jimmy Jeekins, the Citroen C2 of newcomer Harvey Hutchinson, Holly Woolley and newcomer Ben Bartlett in their Suzuki Swifts completing the entry for this one, all 1300cc cars. It's Will Ovenden in the red car, the man from Kent, who leads them away. We saw him take a couple of A final wins in the junior category last year. in the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship, but he didn't contest the full season, so it was Owen Robbins who took the junior title. Corey Paget has slotted into second place from his pole position. Third place is Tyler McAlpin, all experienced at junior races, as is Holly Woolley in her second season in the category. She's there in fourth. Jimmy Jeekins in the Nissan Micra, his brother Alfie, previously raced in the series, up there in fifth. There's Ben Bartlett in the blue number 44 Suzuki. And at the back is Harvey Hutchinson in his Citroen C2. Good to see a couple of newcomers coming in for this season. Battle going on for second place here. Corey Paget under fire from Tyler McAlpin. Corey, the son of Phil Chicken, competes in the super modified division, the team from the northeast of England. Holly Woolley in her second season, Rallycross, giving chase to the number 10 of Tyler McAlpin. McAlpin has a look into turn one there, can't get the line away from Corey Paget. Holly Woolley having a look, so much better showing from Holly. She was learning her craft last season, trying to hold off Jimmy Jeekins. I think Jeekins has just got the overlap there. Yes, he's gone through into fourth. Will Ovenden still leads. Jeekins up into fourth place ahead of Holly Woolley. See another young lady racer joining the juniors this season, Phoebe Cake, whose father Chris is an ex-rallycrosser. And where's Ben Bartlett going? Lost it there coming through the chicane. Nearly headed off into the infield, but he's kept it together. Lost a fair bit of ground though. Still ahead of Harvey Hutchinson in the C2. Still the battle raging for second place. Paget being chased by Tyler McAlpin. Corey Paget and Will Ovenden the favourites for the junior title this year. Ovenden comes with a long line of rallycrossers in his family. McAlpin determined to get second place away from Corey Paget here. Down towards the right-hander, past the paddock. Well out in front in the red Suzuki Swift. Mentioned Phoebe Cake, unfortunately car problems preventing her from running today. There's the C2 driven by Harvey Hutchinson at the back of the field, as here comes Tyler McAlpin up the outside. He gets forced out wide there by Corey Paget, defending his line pretty robustly. Jimmy Jeekins trying to close up, get the Micra into the top three. Will Ovenden's missing all the fun. He's well out in front in this AVM Motors Rotec Junior Final. Good to see plenty of new sponsors coming in for the 2023 Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. The Jeekins Motorsports Micra closes all the time on Tyler McAlpin. Not far behind is Holly Woolley, so they're close in the midfield, but Will Ovenden's away and clear at the front in his Suzuki. We've seen junior drivers win the overall title, of course, a couple of times. Luke Constantine was the man who won the outright title when all the points are combined at the end of the season from all the classes to give your overall champion. It was Darren Bleasdale, super modified, who went unbeaten in A finals last year in the Vauxhall VX220, who took the overall championship. His brother Jason did the same the year before. Bleasdale's not here this weekend. Will Ovenden clear into the final lap. Battle for second comes down into turn one. Paget still ahead of McAlpin, who has a look on the inside. There's contact between the two, and they come together, and over goes Jimmy Jeekins. Goodness me. He clipped the back of one of the Suzuki Swifts there and flips the Micra over. The rescue vehicle straight off the mark to see if young Jimmy is okay, and the red flag is coming out. The race will be stopped. Race being stopped to check on Jimmy Jeekins there. Just bounced off one of the two Suzuki Swifts battling ahead of him and flips the Micra over. Let's hope young Jimmy's okay. The race has been stopped. I imagine the results will be declared. Jimmy Jeekins appears to be okay. Let's clip the back of Tyler McAlpin there. The race has been declared at the conclusion of lap 3. Will Ovenden the winner then ahead of Tyler McAlpin and Corey Paget. Corey Paget given a penalty of 1 second there, dropping him down to third. Holly Woolley fourth ahead of Ben Bartlett and Harvey Hutchinson. Jimmy Jeekins, of course, a non-finisher.
Well, it's a fantastic race. You're commanding victory. How did that feel for you?
Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I've worked really hard that race just to get that gap after the start. It was a really good start, and I just pulled away from the field, and I was really confused when I saw the I didn't actually see a checker flag. There was a red flag, and it was really stressful on that in lap. But yeah, come in and found out that I've won, and it's great.
The final was quite clear cut for you, but it's not been like that all day.
Yeah, the final really went my way, but Heat 3 especially with Corey, I was behind him all race and he was defending really well. We had a really good battle, and but in the final I managed to not let him get the start, and yeah, got my head down, got away.
We'll wait to see some more.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be back.
Next up on track here at Blyton Park today is the BMW Minis A final, sponsored by Bone Street Autos. Charlie Maroney and Ben Sayer were the winners in the heats. Good to see the former junior category race winner Ben Sayer back out. He won 2 heats, so is on pole position. Charlie Maroney, runner-up in the production category last season, on the front row alongside David Ellis in the Proctor's Coaches sponsored number 4 car. We get underway then down towards that first corner, a 5-lap A final. It's Charlie Maroney from second on the grid in the black car who leads them away. Coming up on the outside is the blue car of Harvey Harmon. He gets away well. Ben Sayer side by side with Dave Ellis. Abby McGuinness is in behind them in the red machine. We've got Leanne Sedgwick, the 2 ladies battling out. Good to see Leanne back out after a couple of years away. And completing the field there, Alan Laidler, the number 744, former modified and production category competitor. A bit of a sort out there at the chicane. David Ellis up into second place in the number 4 car ahead of Ben Sayer. Then it's McGuinness, Sedgwick, Harmon. And there's Alan Laidler. He qualified for this race by winning the B final ahead of Michael Amlin in the number 55 car. The top 2 from the B final getting through onto the back of the grid for the A final. They've started to sort themselves out now after those frantic opening exchanges. Charlie Maroney clear in the lead. We saw him in a Citroen Saxo last season in the production category. Came close to winning that, but it was Charlie Titcombe who went on to take the title. Dave Ellis in second place, then Ben Sayer, good to see him back out. Abby McGuinness, who was a race winner in BMW Mini last season. Leanne Sedgwick running wide there, the former stock car racer, getting a wheel onto the dirt down the main straights. Fairly close up there for second. Dave Ellis, the Proctor's Coaches sponsored car owned by Kevin Proctor, long-time rallycross and rally driver. Based up near Croft Circuit in North Yorkshire. A shame that this championship doesn't visit Croft anymore. Through the chicane, out onto the back of the circuit. Charlie Maroney continues to lead. Alan Laidler there in the background, the winner of the B final. 4 cars in the B final. It was Laidler who won ahead of Michael Amlin. The 2 cars that were eliminated, didn't get into the A final, were Gus Glass and James Hawkes, the latest member of the Hawkes family to move into rallycross. A lot of them have raced in rallycross over the years. There is Alan Laidler debuting the BMW Mini. Looks like he's missing a bit of his front bumper. Ben Sayer all over the back of Dave Ellis here, trying to take second place away, trying to get up alongside here down the main straight. He's round the outside and is up into second position, Ben Sayer, but did he drop all 4 wheels off the circuit there? That's a no-no in rallycross. You can't go all 4 wheels off, otherwise you'll get a penalty. And again there he runs wide. Ben Sayer's pushing too hard here in the Sayers Tankers liveried car. It's Charlie Maroney who leads the way. We saw his father Richard Maroney competing as well last year in the Classic division in a Ford Escort, but sadly suffered a fire and ended its season early. Charlie Maroney was right in the mix for the production title right up towards the final round at Knockhill, but it was Charlie Titcombe, the ex-junior category racer, who lifted the title. Into the final lap, 4 BMW Minis together, and Ben Sayer is not finished yet. His identical 1600cc supercharged BMW Mini Cooper R53 models, very evenly matched indeed. Bit of a lock up there into turn 1 for Maroney. He tries to hold off the attack of Ben Sayer. This is great stuff. Best races we've had so far today, the Bone Street Autos BMW Minis. Problems there for the number 55 of Michael Amlin. Smoke from his car, looks like he's pulling up. Was at the back of the field there, the B final qualifier. Through the chicane they go on the back of the circuit. Maroney and Sayers between these 2 for victory now. Into the left hand. Back towards the hairpin for the last time. What can Ben Sayer do? Can he get up alongside Charlie Maroney? Michael Amlin ahead of them there, pulling up on the exit of the hairpin. He's out of the race. Ben Sayer up alongside. There's a bit of contact there. Oh, I thought Maroney was going to spin. He saves it just about there. Put his foot down and just about kept it together. They're coming up towards the final corner. 4 cars line astern. I think Charlie Maroney's just about going to hang on. Yes, he wins it, ahead of Sayer, Ellis and McGuinness. What a great fight. David Ellis and Abby McGuinness almost caught up there towards the end of the race. The rest of the field comes up across the line, apart from the frustrated Michael Amlin, the car sadly letting him down late on. And it's Harvey Harman in the blue car across the line at the tail of the field. Cracking race there, 4 cars fighting it out for the victory. Sadly Michael Amlin failing to finish. Well, Ben Sayer did indeed put 4 wheels off there and was given a 5-second penalty. That drops him from 2nd down to 4th. Charlie Maroney the winner by 0.8 of a second ahead of David Ellis and Abby McGuinness. Leanne Sedgwick, who came over in 5th ahead of Alan Laidler, Harvey Harman in 7th place, and Michael Amlin the non-finisher.
Charlie, that was a frantic final for you. Was it as exciting for you as it was for us?
I think my heart rate is going up through the roof. It was a good race. It was very tight at the end there, but yeah, no, I'm definitely very frantic right now. So.
Yeah, with such a large grid of minis out there, which is lovely to see. And what were your expectations at the beginning of the day?
I wanted just to finish the race and have a good day. That was it. No problems. Finish the race and just see where I come. And we've done well. We've had a good day. So yeah. And
carrying on your winning ways from last year.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, why change?
Are you joining us at Pembrey?
Pembrey, I'm away. I can't make that one. I'm going to miss it, but I will be at Lyddon.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing more Maroney magic at Lyddon.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Next up on track, it is the A final for the production category. Welcome returnee Martin Peters scored a hat-trick in the heats. He's on pole. James Orton and Mark Henry alongside him. These some of the smaller cars out there. They're underway, the MOT Group production category. They're always lively, and there's already some pushing and shoving. Sam Noy in the grey Saxo, Mark Finch in the Clio getting together there. It's Martin Peters who leads into the first corner. Mark Henry in the Alfa Romeo trying to get around the outside. They're still pushing and shoving in there. Sam Noy under attack from Johnny Crisp in his Citroen Saxo, the winner of the B final, trying to make his way through on the inside. But it's Peters who leads in the Saxo. The Peugeot 106 of James Orton in second. Mark Henry in third. There's already bodywork hanging off. Somebody losing a front bumper in there. I think that's Johnny Crisp in his Saxo, already looking rather second hand as they head out onto the back of the circuit. Ahead of him, Mark Finch in the Renault Clio. Behind them, Daniel Griffiths in the Citroen C2. And at the back of the field there, Jonathan Bennett from the Road Hunters. Look them up on social media, making his Rallycross debut today. Mark Finch in the Clio somehow staying ahead of what's left of Johnny Crisp's Saxo. Look at the state of that car. Looks like it's been in a banger race after that contact on the first corner. He's still going though. Martin Peters, treble winner in the heats on his return to Rallycross after a couple of years away, leads the way. James Orton making a comeback today as well, the electrical engineer. Wheel of the 605 Peugeot 106, if you see how I mean. Mark Henry improving all the time in the Alfa Romeo. He's there in third. Johnny Crisp now battling it out with Sam Noy in the grey Saxo. They're staying ahead of Mark Finch in the Clio, who's dropped back a little. Used to run a Fiesta in the Classic division. Sam Noy hanging on, but here comes Johnny Crisp on the inside down into the paddock complex, and he's through. Gonna run wide on the exits. Just about avoids the cones there. Finch up behind him, then Griffiths in the Citroen C2. I believe that's the car that Tom Brooks, the motorsport journalist and commentator, raced last season. Battle for the lead between Peters and Orton, with Johnny Crisp, who won the B final incidentally ahead of Dan Griffiths. The car that didn't qualify from that Kestutis Butkis at the wheel of his Suzuki Swift. The other cars we saw today that didn't get past practice, unfortunately, James Ash in his Citroen C2 and Stuart Woolen, who had an incident in his Peugeot 106, unfortunately, and failed to race. See them back out at subsequent rounds. The next round coming up at Pembrey in a few weeks' time in Wales. Bit of grass tracking there from Mark Finch in the Clio. Chasing Sam Noy in his battered Saxo. Ahead of them, the even more battered Saxo of Johnny Crisp, the ex-Ford KA racer. Mark Finch raising money for the RAF Benevolent Fund, racing his Clio. They're well behind the two leaders though, into lap 4. Mark Henry going well at the wheel of the Alfa Romeo 147. Moving all the time in that car, had a couple of heat wins with it last season. Two French hatchbacks out in front. They're into their final lap now as Dan Griffiths gets the C2 past Sam Noy. Behind them is Jonathan Bennett at the wheel of the green Citroën Saxo, the Road Hunters representative. Have a look for them on Facebook for blogs of their racing. His Rallycross debut today. Has done very well indeed to make the A final at his first attempt. James Orton all over the back of Martin Peters for the lead as they head through the new chicane. Is Peters going to hang on and make it 4 wins out of 4 in the Citroën Saxo? Or are we going to see a win for Peugeot? James Orton's had some contact as well. You can see the passenger door is stoved in. It's certainly not slowing him down. We see a bit of rough and tumble in the production category. Mark Henry nearly gets assaulted there by Johnny Crisp. They're side by side through the hairpin. Crisp goes through into 3rd place. It's going to be a win for Martin Peters. It's going to be 4 out of 4. He holds off James Orton just to the line. Martin Peters takes the win. Crisp comes over in 3rd place, running wide there through the final bend. Mark Henry down to 4th on the final bend. And where's Mark Finch going? No, Mark, the finish line is down here. Where on earth was the Clio going there? Trying to hold off Dan Griffiths. And John Bennett completes the finishers. Jonathan Bennett's the Road Hunters Saxo comes over in 7th place. And Martin Peters makes it 4 wins out of 4 in our A final in the MOT Group production category, winning by less than 0.2 of a second ahead of James Orton. It was Johnny Crisp 3rd ahead of Mark Henry. Mark Finch with his wayward finish in 5th ahead of Dan Griffiths. And Jonathan Bennett, unfortunately we lost Samuel Noy's Saxo with a couple of laps to go. Certainly lively stuff indeed from the production class. And now it's on to the beautiful cars of the Classic division, sponsored by Melius Limited. Lee Wood with 2 heat wins in pole position in his Mark II Escort. John Cross won the other heat in the Stratos replica, but electrical problems in the other heats have meant he's starting towards the back of the grid. We're on board with Helen Crooks in her Mini as we get underway, and look at John Cross. He is rocket propelled from the back of the grid. He's overtaken everybody, and into the lead goes the Lancia Stratos replica. Had a heat win, but then problems in the other heats, meaning he started from the back, but no handicap at all as he just blasts clear of Lee Wood, the reigning Classic champion in the Motorquip Mark II Escort, who's in 2nd place. 3rd is Darrell Ambrose in his Peugeot 106 XSI, and 4th Dan Swayland in his beautiful Mark I Escort in 4th place. The other cars out there, Helen Crooks in the Mini and Tony Browse in the MG Maestro. Yes, an MG Maestro competing here at Blyton, a rare car indeed these days. There's the Mark I Escort of Dan Swayland. We ride on board with Helen Crooks. We'll see her son Todd out in the super modified A final with his BMW Mini. It's John Cross who has the lead, literally going last to first off the line. Dan Swayland has got ahead of Darrell Ambrose in the Peugeot 106 for 3rd. Lee Wood is all over John Cross now for the lead in the Motorquip STP liveried Escort, similar to the car that John Welch raced in British Rallycross in the early 80s. John Welch, one of the all-time greats of British Rallycross, has raced against John Cross many times over the years. John, a vastly experienced rallycrosser. Can he hold off Lee Wood in the 333? Lee Wood's competed in everything, British touring cars to pickup truck racing to hot rod racing. He's done everything over the years. Swing their way over the chicane. They're almost up alongside each other now. Lee Wood having a look. John Cross just about holds him off. Lancia Stratos, of course, revolutionised rallying when it appeared in the mid-1970s. This car not fitted with the Ferrari developed engine that the Stratos originally had, though. I believe the replica has a VW engine inside it. Lee Wood in that beautiful Mark II Escort up there in 2nd place. Swings it through the complex into the 3rd lap. Right on the tail of the Stratos now. They're well clear of their opposition. Dan Swayland and Darrell Ambrose, the ex-production competitor, fighting for 3rd place. Then Helen Crooks and Tony Browse further back. Here comes Lee Wood. He's almost up alongside again. Saw some great battling in the BMW Minis earlier on. Here comes Lee Wood, he's up alongside this time as they go down to the chicane, and he goes through. Brilliant move by Lee Wood in the treble 3. He takes the lead. Meanwhile, Tony Browse has got the Maestro past Helen Crooks in the Mini. Helen Crooks, the former Classic Mini champion, but the class is slightly restructured this year, the sub-classes. Going round towards the start of the final lap now. It is Lee Wood who still leads. A couple of cars missing from this A final. Mark Jones had trouble in practice with his Toyota MR2. Also Jamie McBain in the Peugeot 205 unfortunately suffered a rollover in practice. His car will have to be rebuilt for subsequent rounds. Just between these two for the lead, they're way ahead of everybody else. Wood versus Cross. Into their last lap. Can the Stratos fight back? There's the Maestro. Looks like part of the sump guard, I think that is, has fallen off underneath, but he's still going. Tony Browse. In turns 1 and 2 for the last time. John Cross possibly hoping for a slight mistake from Lee Wood so he can get the pointed nose of the Stratos up alongside, clipping the cones there as he goes onto the infield. Through the chicane. Lee Wood, the reigning Classic Division champion, sponsored once again by Melius Limited. There's Darrell Ambrose on his debut in the category. 4th place in the Peugeot 106. So Lee Wood's pulled away a little now on the far side of the circuit. I think he's done enough. Cross, hopefully he's not going to have any return of those electrical gremlins that stymied him in the heats. Yeah, he's definitely slowing up there, unfortunately, John Cross, so it's going to be a win for Lee Wood. Here comes the Escort to score its 3rd win of the day. Lee Wood takes the checkered flag. John Cross comes over in 2nd. They are well ahead of everybody else. Looks like it's going to be Dan Swayland in the Escort who will take 3rd place. Helen Crooks has dropped to the rear of the field. There is Dan Swayland well behind in his lovely Mark 1 Escort. Tony Browse still going in the Maestro. Swayland comes over to take 3rd place. 4th place it will be Darrell Ambrose. His first Melius Limited Classic meeting in the 106 takes 4th. Pre-1995 is the qualification for Classic. Well, we've got such a variety of cars out there. Despite dragging a bit of the underside along there, Tony Browse in his rare MG Maestro. He's going to come in and finish 5th, ahead of Helen Crooks in the Mini. I've seen her battling with Ian Clark over the last few years, the 2 Classic Minis. We haven't seen Ian out for quite a while. Hopefully we'll see him back later this year as Crooks completes the 6 finishers. It's a shame we lost Mark Jones and Jamie McBain, because I'm sure they'd have been battling at the front as well. So the Melius Limited Classic Division is won by Lee Wood, just under 2 seconds ahead of John Cross after a great fight between the two. Dan Swayland in the Escort 3rd ahead of Darrell Ambrose, and then further back Tony Browse 5th in the Maestro. Helen Crooks completing the finishers in the Mini.
Lee, after a final like that, it's hard to know quite what to say, other than congratulations.
Just breathe a bit and relax. And no, that was an awesome final, absolutely awesome. That was what it's all about.
Well, we were watching it and it was awesome from where we were, but what was it like for you?
Well, John he's got about 100 years of experience, so you can't, he knows every trick in the book, so you just have to go for something a bit outrageous, which is what we did. The great thing about this formula is the different range of cars and the people, and the people can relate to them a lot as well from years gone by. So in my opinion, they're the best and I love it. So
I have to agree with you. Well, delighted to see you back on the top step, Lee. Congratulations, and what's for the coming up the rest of the season for you?
For the full season with this, and we'll do the 5 Nations over in a couple of weeks at Linden. So
we'll see you then. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Final race of the day then, the A final for the SG Haulage Super Modified Division. 2 wins for Phil Chicken in his Citroen C2 have put him on pole after qualifying. Gary Cook won the other heat in the orange Fiesta. They will lead the field away down towards the first corner. A poor start by Todd Crooks. The BMW Mini drops back. Fred Ling up there on the outside in the Fiesta, and Gary Cook spins into the first corner. There was no contact there. Gary Cook just spins around, and off goes one of the favourites, the former overall champion. It's Phil Chicken who has got the lead. We ride on board with Todd Crooks. Chris Smith ahead of us there, doubling up in 2 classes today with his Honda Civic. They bounce over the loose section on the infield into the chicane. It's Chicken who leads. Fred Ling in 2nd place, Smith in 3rd. It's followed by our camera car Todd Crooks. Further back behind them, Tony Crisp at the wheel of the Vauxhall Nova. Gary Cook trying to get going again, but he's spun again coming through the chicane. There's something wrong with the Fiesta, unfortunately. I think that could be race over for Gary Cook. They fight their way through the hairpin for the first time. Phil Chickin has the lead in the Citroën C2. Vastly experienced rallycrosser from the northeast of England. We've seen his son Corey Paget in action already, and Fred Ling up the inside into paddock corner, and he's through. Great move on the brakes there by Fred Ling in the Fiesta. And a lot of mechanical problems with the car last season. Looking for his first ever A final win. He's fairly rocketing away from Phil Chickin now. Into turns 1 and 2, third behind them Chris Smith, then Todd Crooks recovering from a slightly slow start. Tony Crisp in 5th position. I think Gary Cook has dropped out in his Fiesta. The other car here today, Richard Moore in his Mercedes SLK, unfortunately didn't make it past practice, still teething problems with that new car, which was meant to debut at the end of last season. Crooks we're on board with. Saw his mother Helen in action in the Classic division, one of the very few mother and son racing partnerships in UK motorsport. Chris Smith in his modified spec Honda Civic, chasing Phil Chickin into lap 4. Phil Chickin kicking up the dust there down the main straights on this very overcast but thankfully dry day here in Lincolnshire. Fred Ling's away and clear, hoping for no car problems now, and he will take his first ever SG Haulage Super Modified A final victory in the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Fred Ling, the former autocross racer on the grass tracks before moving into rallycross a couple of years ago. Only a young gun. There is Tony Crisp in his lovely Vauxhall Nova that he debuted last season. Used to compete in a Ford K8 in production. Reminiscent of the Vauxhall Nova rallied successfully by Dave Metcalf in the early 1990s. Dave, of course, very sadly lost to us in a road accident at the peak of his career. A nice tribute-looking car there from Tony Crisp. Chris Smith all over the back of Phil Chickin here for second place as they go into the last lap, but Fred Ling's away and gone. He's the length of the main straight, clear in the Piper Cams sponsored Fiesta. Long last, it looks like Fred is going to have the luck go his way, and he's going to take his first A final victory over the infield. The track not as bumpy as we've seen in previous years there on that infield loop at Blyton. So much work has been done on this venue in recent years by its owners Ginetta. Todd Crooks in the background, a quiet day for him in the BMW Mini. Can Chris Smith get through here on the final lap for second place? He's all over the tail of Phil Chickin. It's going to be a win for Fred Ling. Fiesta heading down towards the final corner after trying for so long and having so much bad luck. Fred Ling wins an A final at long last. His first ever super modified A final victory. Well done to Fred. Phil Chickin will come over for second place. He's just going to hold off Chris Smith. Finally, the Bleasdale family's winning run in the category is broken. The Bleasdale's absent today. Todd Crooks in 4th place in the BMW Mini. The other finisher will be Tony Crisp in the Vauxhall Nova because we lost Gary Cook early on. Fred Ling's winning margin over Phil Chickin, some 7.5 seconds, with Chickin preoccupied holding off Chris Smith. A great day for Chris, winning the modifieds and third in super modified. Todd Crooks in 4th ahead of Tony Crisp in the Nova, and Gary Cook spun out of the race early on in our SG Haulage Super Modifieds.
Here with me is the winner of the Super Modified final, Fred Ling. Congratulations, Fred.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a testing day. Broken a gearbox mount in the first heat. Luckily, the team, my dad and Lance and Paul, all the team mucked in, got that fixed. So I thought it was game over, so I over the moon with that. Second heat was my own wrongdoing. I got a bit keen on the brakes, but yeah. Come final time, sort of some gaps opened up, and here we are. So yeah, over the moon really.
Found the gaps and made them pay.
Yeah. Car's new engine for this year. Can't fault it. It's been absolutely spot on all day. So yeah, hopefully the first win of a few this year.
Congratulations, Fred. I don't know how you're going to celebrate, but whatever you do, it's well won.
I think there might be a Chinese on the way home.
Congrats.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Well, that's just about wraps up a very successful season opener here at Blyton Park for the 2023 Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Decent weather, good entries and some brilliant racing from all our categories here today bodes well for the 2023 season ahead. We'll see you soon for the next round at Pembrey in South Wales in just a few weeks' time. But for now, thanks for watching and goodbye.